2 minutes ago, the world witnessed the most terrifying escalation of global conflict in our modern era as Iran launched its largest and most sophisticated missile strike in history, specifically targeting the high-security Israeli compound of Benjamin Netanyahu. I am here to tell you that this is not just a failure of diplomacy. It is the ultimate catastrophic realization of the danger posed by the Trump-Bondi doctrine of corruption, tech-cronyism, and the systematic hollowing out of our global intelligence networks. This strike on a supposedly impenetrable high-security compound is the smoking gun that proves that while Donald Trump was busy playing golf and Pam Bondi was busy lobbying for surveillance oligarchs, the actual security of our allies and the stability of the world were being sold to the highest bidder. We are seeing a direct line from the $149 million that vanished under the Trump administration to the failure of the very defense systems that were supposed to prevent an attack of this magnitude. This is the moment where the law and order theater of the MAGA movement meets the cold, hard reality of their own structural incompetence and their betrayal of the American people and our partners abroad. To understand the gravity of this moment, we must look at the title of this crisis: the largest missile strike in history against a high-security compound. This was not supposed to be possible. We were told that the Abraham Accords and the Trump era of strength had secured the region, but that was a lie. What they actually did was replace real intelligence and real diplomacy with a series of high-priced tech contracts for surveillance companies that have deep ties to Pam Bondi and the Trump donor network. The $149 million that vanished was diverted from actual hardware and satellite defense into predictive analytics and data mining software that was designed to track political dissidents rather than incoming missiles. The 47 pages of secret documents that Pam Bondi was forced to expose to a judge detail exactly how these funds were moved through shell companies to benefit the tech oligarchs who are currently building a digital cage for the American public. Now, as Netanyahu's compound sits in the crosshairs of Iranian missiles, we are seeing what happens when you prioritize corporate lobbying over national security. Donald Trump is currently having a total and complete meltdown because he knows that this strike exposes his shadow government for the fraud that it is. He is lashing out at the 67 Republicans in the Senate who humiliated his plan because he knows that his attempt to bypass the confirmation process was a desperate move to hide this very corruption. He wanted to install Pam Bondi as the Attorney General so that she could use the Department of Justice to bury the 7-page report and ensure that the investigation into the missing $149 million never saw the light of day. But the judge in Florida has already declared her prosecutorial model illegal, and the collapse of thousands of cases has created a trail of breadcrumbs that leads directly to the Oval Office and the lobbying offices of Ballard Partners. This missile strike is the final, undeniable proof that the Trump-Bondi alliance has left the world more vulnerable than it has been in decades. Let us be very clear about the technical details of this failure. The Israeli high-security compound was supposed to be protected by an integrated defense grid that relies on United States satellite data and real-time electronic warfare protocols. But those protocols were compromised. They were compromised because the Trump administration allowed private tech companies to write the proprietary code for these systems without any federal oversight. These are the same companies that Pam Bondi lobbied for, the same companies that are more interested in harvesting your data and controlling your finances through digital IDs than in maintaining the integrity of our global defense network. The $149 million that vanished was a down payment on a digital enclosure, where the law is whatever the tech oligarchs say it is. While they were building that cage, they left the gates to our allies' security wide open. The 47 pages of evidence that have been exposed show a terrifying level of coordination between the Trump transition team and these surveillance entities. They show that there was a plan to monetize our intelligence data, selling it back to foreign adversaries and corporate interests while leaving our own military assets in the dark. Pam Bondi told a judge that these arrangements were confidential business secrets, but the judge saw through the lie. The judge realized that you cannot call it a business secret when it involves the theft of $149 million of taxpayer money and the subversion of the United States Constitution. This is why the allies of Donald Trump are turning on him. They are losing it because they realize that they are part of a criminal enterprise that has now resulted in a direct missile strike on the heart of our most important regional ally. Think about the personal implications for you, the American citizen. If they can allow the most secure compound in Israel to be targeted and hit, what makes you think your personal data, your bank account, or your physical safety is secure under a MAGA-led surveillance state? They are pushing for a centralized digital ledger and a programmable currency that would give them total control over your life. They want to use the Bondi model of illegal prosecutors to silence anyone who points out that $149 million is missing. They want to replace the rule of law with a rule of the algorithm, where your rights are granted or revoked based on a score generated by a machine that they control. This is the shadow government that Donald Trump has been talking about, but he is the one who created it. He is the one who handed the keys to the tech oligarchs. The strike on Netanyahu's compound is a wake-up call that we cannot ignore. It shows that the America First rhetoric was nothing more than a cover for a me first policy that has hollowed out our nation's strength. The 5 U.S. aerial tankers that were destroyed at Prince Sultan Air Base and the strike on Israel are two sides of the same coin. They both represent the failure of a defense strategy that is based on cronyism instead of competence. The $149 million that vanished could have been used to harden these targets, to improve our cyber defenses, and to ensure that our allies were not left defenseless. Instead, it was used to fund the very surveillance tools that are now being used to track peaceful American protesters and to monitor the private lives of every citizen. This is the ultimate betrayal of our national trust. Pam Bondi's role as the architect of the collapse is now undeniable. From the illegal prosecutors in Florida to the 47-page report, her fingerprints are all over the systems that have failed us. She has used her legal expertise not to defend the Constitution, but to find ways to bypass it. She has used her lobbying connections to ensure that the tech oligarchs are the ones who write the laws and the ones who benefit from the vanished millions. When Donald Trump nominated her for Attorney General, he was not looking for a seeker of justice. He was looking for a protector of his corrupt network. But the Senate has said no, and the courts have said no, and now the world is saying no to the chaos and the incompetence of the Trump-Bondi machine. We must also address the financial control aspect of this crisis. The $149 million that is missing is part of a larger pattern of financial irregularity that has defined the Trump era. We are talking about money that was moved through dark pools and offshore accounts to fund the development of a MAGA currency that would allow the Trump family and their allies to operate outside of the reach of the law. They want to create a parallel financial system that is tied to your digital ID, a system where they can cut off your access to money if you do not support their political agenda. This is the digital feudalism that they are working toward, and the 47-page report contains the evidence of how they plan to implement it. They are using the threat of global conflict and the fear of missile strikes to justify the implementation of these draconian controls. But the American people are smarter than that. We see through the meltdowns and the distractions. We know that the reason Donald Trump is facing jail is because he has engaged in a systematic effort to defraud the United States and to subvert our democracy. The exposure of the $149 million and the 47-page report is just the beginning. We will continue to follow the money, we will continue to investigate the illegal appointments, and we will continue to hold the tech oligarchs accountable for their role in this betrayal. The strike on Netanyahu's compound is a tragedy, but it is also a moment of clarity. It shows us exactly what is at stake in this fight for the soul of our nation. We must demand a full accounting of every dollar that vanished under the Trump administration. We must demand that the 47 pages of evidence be unredacted and released to the public in their entirety. We must ensure that the Bondi model of illegal prosecution is permanently dismantled and that the rule of law is restored to every level of our government. This is not just about politics, it is about our survival as a free people. We cannot allow our national security to be traded for corporate favors, and we cannot allow our democracy to be replaced by a surveillance state. The 67 Republicans in the Senate have shown that there is a bipartisan path forward, a path that involves putting the country above the leader. The technical failure at the high security compound in Israel must be investigated by an independent body. We need to know exactly which tech companies provided the software and hardware for those defense systems, and we need to know what their connections are to the Trump-Bondi lobbying network. We need to know if the $149 million that vanished was used to create backdoors in our defense systems that allowed this strike to happen. This is the level of transparency that we need if we are going to rebuild our national security and our global standing. The MAGA movement has spent years attacking our intelligence agencies and our diplomats, and now we are seeing the results of that assault. We are seeing a world that is less secure and an America that is more divided. I want you to think about the world that we are fighting to protect. It is a world where the law is the same for everyone, where public funds are used for the public good, and where our technology is used to enhance our freedom, not to take it away. We are fighting against the vanished millions and the illegal prosecutors. We are fighting against the shadow government of lobbyists and tech moguls. We are fighting for an America that is a beacon of hope and a leader in the world, not an America that is hollowed out by corruption and led by a man who is in a constant state of meltdown. The strike on Netanyahu's compound is a reminder that the world is a dangerous place, but it is also a reminder that we are stronger when we stand together and when we uphold the principles of our democracy. Donald Trump is facing jail because the truth is finally catching up to him. He cannot tweet his way out of a 47-page whistleblower report. He cannot bully his way out of a $149 million financial scandal. He is a man who is being overtaken by the very systems he tried to destroy. The Bondi blueprint has failed. The illegal prosecutors have been removed, and the American people are demanding accountability. This is the moment where we reclaim our government and our future. We will not be intimidated by the threats of foreign adversaries or the meltdowns of a cornered politician. We will stand firm in our commitment to the Constitution, and we will ensure that the United States remains a nation of laws. The tech companies that were complicit in this scheme must also face the consequences. They have been given billions of dollars in taxpayer money to build systems that have failed our allies and that are being used to spy on our citizens. We must break the monopoly of the surveillance oligarchs and ensure that our digital infrastructure is open, transparent, and secure. We must reject the digital ID and the programmable currency that the Trump-Bondi machine is pushing. We must protect our financial privacy and our personal freedom from the encroachment of the corporate-government partnership. This is the work that we must do to ensure that the tragedy at Prince Sultan Air Base and the strike on Israel never happen again. As we move forward, we must remember that our strength comes from our values, not from our surveillance technology. It comes from our commitment to the rule of law, our respect for our allies, and our belief in the power of the people. The Republican Party has shown us what happens when those values are abandoned in favor of raw power and corporate greed. They have shown us a world of vanished millions, illegal prosecutors, and humiliated plans. But we represent a different vision. We represent a vision of an America that is honest, that is strong, and that is free. The turn we are seeing today is the beginning of a new chapter in our history, a chapter where the people take back their power from the oligarchs and the lobbyists. We will continue to stand with our allies, but we will do so with eyes wide open. We will not allow our defense to be outsourced to the highest bidder, and we will not allow our intelligence to be compromised by political loyalty. The 47-page report is just the first step in a long process of uncovering the truth about the Trump-Bondi era. We will see it through to the end. We will ensure that every vanished dollar is tracked and every illegal act is prosecuted. This is our duty to the American people and to the generations that will follow. We are the defenders of democracy, and we will not fail. The strike on Netanyahu's high-security compound is a dark moment, but it is also a moment of immense importance for the future of our democracy. It has exposed the deep rot at the heart of the MAGA movement, and it has shown the world that the Trump-Bondi alliance is a threat to global stability. We will use this moment to build a stronger, more transparent, and more accountable government. We will move away from the shadow government of the tech oligarchs and toward a future where the law is supreme. The meltdown of Donald Trump is the sound of the old system dying, and the rise of a new, more principled leadership is the sound of our democracy being reborn. Let us be steady, let us be focused, and let us be united in our defense of the Republic. The 47 pages will be unredacted, the $149 million will be accounted for, and the illegal prosecutors will be a thing of the past. We will ensure that the United States remains a leader in the world, not because of its surveillance technology, but because of its commitment to justice and freedom. The strike in Israel is a warning, but it is also a call to action. We must answer that call with courage, with integrity, and with a determination to ensure that the rule of law prevails. In conclusion, I want you to stay informed and stay engaged. The work of protecting our democracy is never truly finished. We must continue to expose the connections between the tech companies, the lobbyists, and the politicians who are trying to sell out our country. We must continue to demand transparency and accountability from our leaders, and we must never forget that the power belongs to the people. The humiliation of Donald Trump and the collapse of the Bondi legal machine are major victories, but the fight for the soul of our nation continues. We will win this fight because we are on the right side of history and because the truth is a force that cannot be defeated. We will restore the American dream, we will protect our constitutional rights, and we will ensure that the United States remains a nation of laws forever. No more vanished millions. No more illegal prosecutors. No more tech-sponsored authoritarianism. Only the truth, only the law, only the people. This is our moment to lead, and we will lead with strength and with honor. Thank you, and let us continue the work together.